know about you chums, but I get so fed up with all of these politicians that want to wave a flag telling you what you should be doing and how you should be doing it and how you should be living, of course. But, you know, this is what we're doing. You know, the sort of person. I mean, there's one right now here at the moment that you've probably really never heard of. And in order to make sure that he got some shine upon him, well, he had to rope in the current president of the United States, President Donald Trump. Now, you would have thought he may have learned his lesson, but clearly not. And many people now simply suggest that his title should be removed. As ever, let me explain. Morning, nice to see you chums. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're keeping well. A bit of a rainy one here in London right now, and apparently torrential rain over the next couple of days. I love the way you wake up to those things, don't you? Sorry, we'll have a wave. I love the way you wake up to those things, don't you though? And this sort of, you put the radio on, you think, oh right, you know, and then you look out the window and it's quite nice, and you think, well, hang on, you know, what is it? But of course, it always has to be a headline grabbing thing. Anybody miss the days when weather forecasters just told you the weather? And indeed, newsreaders just told you the news without an opinion. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And this is the wonder why, you know, the legacy media, as they've dubbed it, the mainstream media, is literally collapsing because everybody wants to offer their opinion. It's a bit like this man, right? Oh, yes. This man you've probably never heard of, but he is the leader of the Liberal Democrat Party. Not exactly a very successful party, and his sort of plan really was to get attention in the last election, was to do things that you've never done before. So it was on a zip wire, his dancing, play horse thing. I mean, it's just ridiculous stuff, you know. The biggest thing that he's known for is basically abandoning the much needed support of the post office workers that were treated so badly, and many fatalities attached to that. But Ed apparently, and again I have to say allegedly, was too busy. We're talking about Sir Ed Davey. Ed Davey, as he likes to be called, currently the leader of the Lib Dems. I remember him coming to my studio, and it was incredible really when you think he was doing this sort of rounds of trying to get elected as the leader. Absolute shambles, and was so nervous he had to send out for a shirt because his original shirt was drenched. That's the level of, well, shall we say, confidence he has in himself, you know what I'm saying. Now, what was interesting also, meeting him face to face was, well, he couldn't meet you face to face. Everything had to be scripted and, you know, all planned in advance. He was the worst interviewer, I would imagine, in political stances I've come across in a long time. But here's where it gets interesting. I'll explain this. He recently attacked the President of the United States, Donald Trump. And this was, you know, because apparently he doesn't want to now attend the official state visit of President Trump next month. Over in Windsor, alongside a very special invitation from His Majesty the King. Do not forget that it's the monarchy that bestowed the title upon Edward Davey, right? Not their choice, but they have to do it. So you understand, a little bit like Keir Starmer, you know, wants to get rid of the monarchy, but suddenly there's a Sir attached, ooh, I'll have that. And of course, you know, I never said that, but it's all there, isn't it? Literally in print and on screen. Now, Ed Davey, as I say, now I'm not going because President Trump hasn't sorted out the war in Gaza or wherever, so he's making a stance. It's the only way that he can be heard. This was just 48 hours ahead of the fact that he was being paid £750 to be a guest host on a little watched and little heard radio station, LBC. You see how they do it? Use the president, get the publicity, and then everybody talks about you, so it gives him something to talk about when he's on air. You get that picture, right? Now here's where this gets even more interesting and rather confusing, because when you look at it from a bigger level too, the situation is really this. Thanks to Ed, Rod Stewart, 80, decided to wade in on the fact that he is back in his stance for not going, of course, to, you know, this particular dinner, this particular state banquet. Now, you would have thought Rod, you know, again, would know better. Came from a very humble background, but of course money success after many decades makes people's brains a little bit fuddled. And let's not also forget that Rod recently became a King's ambassador. There's simply no respect. Whichever way you look at it, whether you're for the monarchy or not, it's just disrespectful. And at the time of the things that you need some support and, you know, all of your political leaders around you to show unity, well, as we saw last month, or should I say earlier this month, on the recent visit of the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, we're showing incredibly bad manners over here in the United Kingdom for anybody visiting from the United States. I mean, it's amazing that people still want to be, well, associated with us. I don't know what you think about Ed Davey or if you've ever noticed him or looked him up, but check out exactly what he didn't do for the post office workers. That should form a real true opinion of this despicable man, clearly with no manners. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.